There are really no words to describe how much Gail meant to the Harbor School. She was an unbelievable educator who always put her students first. Gail started at the Harbor School in 1999. Throughout the years, Gail adopted many of her students. If one of her families were struggling, she would reach into her own pocket for her students' clothing and food. If a child wanted to stay after school for sports or play rehearsals and didn't have a ride home, Gail would stay after hours to drive her students home. I was young when I started at Harbor, and the moment I saw Gail in action, I knew I wanted to be Gail Pickhardt when I grew up. I just watched the way she would interact with kids and be in awe. She'd notice students who were sad and struggling and take them into her heart and get to know them. She had a rare ability to develop a trust that no one could match. These same students who were struggling academically and emotionally would learn to read, write, and be social. She created a happy energy that was warm and generous. Her giving nature was a miracle. I looked up to this amazing human being every day. She was magic. I was lucky enough to have Gail as my mentor and bestie throughout the years. When I was pregnant with my son, she started calling me Mama Bear. When a student couldn't pronounce Miss Pickhardt correctly, they called her Pickleheart. It stuck, and Gail became Pickles to everyone. Gail taught me everything I know about teaching. We were Pickles and Mama Bear, the dynamic duo. We could finish each other's sentences. Our lessons would flow almost in synchrony. During our classes, there were times we would just look at each other and laugh. We'd just laugh at the craziness going on in our class. We were the perfect team. Teaching with Gail was simply amazing. I am forever grateful for being able to teach alongside. Her friendship sure was something special. Gail loved with her whole heart. It was a heart of gold. I missed my Pickles every day. But I'm comforted knowing she's looking down on me and this school. I hope I am making her proud. She's an angel now, guiding me as I move forward into my beloved teaching career. As I watch over the little ones, she is here with me. Always and forever, she will be a treasure, legacy, and beautiful memory.
Gail was the first teacher I met when my son Josh came for his shadow days at the Harbor School 8 years ago. Like so many parents, I was nervous if the Harbor School would be the right fit for Josh. Well, after 3 days of shadowing in Gail's class, it was apparent that Josh had met his match. Gail and Josh formed an instant bond that remained strong throughout the years. Gail was not only an amazing teacher, but became a great friend and support for our family. Gail and I looked forward to Sunday meetings at Panera Bread, where we would meet with members of Team Josh to discuss all aspects of his education. We bonded over favorite books, TV shows, and of course, sweets. Gail became a part of the family in many ways. When our family suffered a great tragedy 4 years ago, Gail immediately stepped into action and brought food and her comforting presence to our house. She brought laughter and joy in our time of sorrow. I don't know how many teachers would go above and beyond to ensure the well-being and happiness of their students and families, but that is the legacy that Gail leaves behind. She is a unique example of how a caring and compassionate teacher can leave a lasting impact on not only her students, but their families. She used her skills as a reading specialist and sheer determination to see her Harbor School students succeed in the classroom and in the community. Gail is our guardian angel and the embodiment of Harbor Magic.
I met Gail in 2003 when my daughter Megan started at the Harbor School in the lower school. Gail was a lower school teacher at the time, and she appeared to be amazing, which later I realized was very true. Dr. J is the captain of the Harbor School and the face of the school, but Gail really is a true Harbor icon. She was a teacher extraordinaire. And beyond being a teacher, she also started the Girls Club with Julia Robinson's mom, Joni, because she felt there needed to be a place for our Harbor girls to feel accepted and to have a group and a club. And it was so much fun working with Gail. We had a wonderful time. We did a lot of crafts and activities that the girls loved, and she was so easy to work with and so enthusiastic and so incredibly patient. And beyond that, Gail would give rides to kids from Catonsville. She was like the Catonsville carpool, and she was just a support, and she followed students throughout their harbor school tenure, and she was pretty amazing. And I used to joke, and I have always called her the reading whisperer, because Gail could teach any child how to read. She was amazing. She had so many tools in her pocket, and she was patient, and she took her time, and she saw the best in kids, and she used that to help the kids shine. And there's just one story I want to share. When I started at Harbor and was volunteering in the book fair, we had a student who eloped from the gymnasium, and he had long hair. He was a high schooler, and he hid behind his hair, and I looked at Miss Adams, and we thought we can't let him leave the building, so we followed him out. And he was pretty difficult at the time and was struggling. And fast forward several years later, Gail came over to my house with this young man, Zach, and Julia and John Cole, and Meg was there, and we were having an afternoon together. And Zach sat on a chair with me and said if it wasn't for Gail, he would not be who he is now. And he ended up going to a community college program, and he worked in nursery schools because he wanted to be an aide. And she was an incredible support for him and helped him to be the young man that he is today. And that's just one story. There are, I know, so many others where she just gave kids what they needed to be able to be the best person and grow into the best adults they could be. So I miss Gail, but I think a pavilion for reading is the perfect tribute to her. Thank you. And I also have Periwinkle, her cat, now, so I get to see a piece of Gail every day.
I've been with Miss Pickhardt for like about a year when I was in lower school. She was a nice teacher ever, and she made me so company.
She was my first ever teacher in lower school when I first started at this awesome school in 2012. She always loved me. Trust me, she did. It was awesome. She loved me a lot as my first ever teacher in lower school.
Oh dear, Miss Gail. Thank you, godparents, for take care of her. She's my old best friend. She's very nice and generous.
I like you, Miss Pickhardt. I miss you.
What was your favorite thing to do with Miss Pickhardt?
Go to Panera. Go to Panera.
You've just seen a wonderful video about an exceptional and remarkable Harbor School teacher who most unfortunately left us long before we were ready for her to even think about retiring. Now that we've seen a little tiny bit of Gail's legacy, I'm going to ask each and every one of you, think hard, dig deeply, and help us to create a memorial to Gail's legacy and her work with children with disabilities. So would you please give what you can for this mighty effort for an extremely mighty woman.